When Alicia had left, Jeff sat down next to Bianca and took her hand in his. "It will be okay," he said. "Whatever happened to you, we're here for you. You're safe here, and you can stay here. Maybe Alicia already told you, but we had an accident too, on this ship. My grandfather was only a child then, but he told me stories about it. It was a horrible time, but I think it also brought us closer. A silver lining in the cloud, I guess." She looked at him, her gaze vacant. Her hand was still in his, and he assumed she was listening the best she could in her state of shock. They sat in silence for a while. But Jeff didn't want it to linger, and decided it was time to talk about a happier period, how it had been before the accident. One of his favorite stories was about Dallas, the first captain of the ship. Jeff had read about him and the time he lived in countless times in the logbook. In truth, they weren't very exciting stories per se. There wasn't much happening at the beginning of Einstein's journey. But just as for Alicia, it was the exact reason he liked those stories, and why he kept telling them. In the meantime, Alicia entered the biosphere and let her eyes adjust to the light. It was a vast space, meant for cultivating their food. But after the accident, as their members declined, it had grown wild, and now it looked more like a forest than anything else. She knew it was slowly dying from lack of rain, but it still held on, and she breathed in the smell of nature, plants, and water. As the ship had closed down after the accident, and the power usage had to be minimized, the biosphere had also become their home. Their old sleeping halls had closed down, the heating turned off, and the biosphere, nowadays, was the only place on the ship that was still open and alive. As she stepped in further, the members approached her with worry etched on their faces. She knew that as a captain, she shouldn't leave the bridge, and coming here unannounced was a sign that something was wrong. Martha, Alicia's aunt and the respected older woman, was the first to greet her. "Has something happened?" she asked. "I found someone on the ship," Alicia said. "Her crew had an accident, and she's the only survivor." A multitude of voices started to talk simultaneously. "Is she okay? What has happened to her? What ship?" "She is okay," Alicia said. "In shock, but okay." "What was she doing in space?" Martha asked. Alicia looked down. "We don't know yet. She's too much in shock to be asked." "Do you think," Martha's voice became a whisper, "that someone is looking for us? Wanting to help us?" Alicia pushed the hope she had to the side, not wanting to presume anything. "We don't know yet," she said. Martha nodded and took her hand in hers. "Go back to her," she said. "Don't leave her alone. We'll talk to her when she's ready." Alicia nodded and left. She knew they had as many questions as her, but it just had to wait. As she arrived back at the bridge, Jeff was on his second story about Dallas, but he looked up as she entered. "How did it go?" he asked. "They know now. It's fine," Alicia said. He nodded, and Alicia turned to Bianca. "I think you need to rest. I'll take you to my cabin for now." Jeff nodded his approval, and said that he would take care of the bridge in the meantime. Bianca stood up, and Alicia took her hand, leading her out of the bridge. They walked in silence through the dark corridors, Alicia taking them to another entrance, the one leading to the cabins. She wanted to keep Bianca shielded and not overwhelm her with new faces and people. This way, they could get to the cabin almost immediately, and they could stay there until Bianca came out of the shock and calmed down. Now you'll soon see where we live, she said. She was trying to small talk. But Bianca didn't seem to notice what she had said, and just kept walking next to her. Alicia shook her head and continued walking. As they came to the doorway of the biosphere, Alicia stepped in ahead of Bianca, just to make sure that no one was around. When everything was clear, she beckoned to her to follow, and they stepped inside. The cabins didn't lay far, and soon they could see them on the hills. It was a building project that had been finished in stages, and different types of wooden cabins spread out over the area. That's where we're going, she said, and pointed towards it. But again, Bianca didn't seem to notice her. But maybe this time it was because she kept staring at the forest. It was the first time Alicia had seen her reacting to something in her surroundings. They arrived at Alicia's cabin, a small but cozy place. It was only meant for sleeping, and the rest of their activities and daily life were spent with the other members in the biosphere. Still, Alicia liked it here. It had a homey feeling to it, and she felt safe staying in her cabin. She sat down on the bed and gestured to Bianca to do the same. By now, Bianca was back to what looked to be a state of shock, and just as in the medical unit, she was serenely watching the room, unaware of anything around her. Alicia wondered if it only was shock, or if there was something else to it too. Because one moment Bianca was crying, and the other, she was watching the room calmly, and she went between the states faster than anyone she'd seen. She shook her head. They would find out, she guessed. They sat in silence, any voices from the biosphere too far away to be heard, and it started to make Alicia feel uncomfortable. Once here, alone with each other, she didn't know what to say or do. But Bianca didn't seem to mind, or even notice the silence. She kept watching the room calmly, almost vacantly. So, how are you feeling? Alicia asked. I'm fine, Bianca replied. Alicia waited for her to continue, but Bianca had gone back to watching the room. Once you've rested, I will show you around the ship, Alicia tried. Bianca only nodded, and Alicia couldn't stand it any longer. She stood up. Are you hungry? I can bring you some food, she said. Bianca turned to her. Yes, thank you, she said. Relieved to have an excuse to go, Alicia hurried out the door. She would get some food, but she would also go and talk to Jeff and see what he had to say about it. Maybe he could give some advice. Bianca was still sitting on the bed as she closed the door behind her.